Laughs softly, tilting his head as if amused by a private joke, chosen one. Do you hear that word and feel its weight? Funny thing about being chosen, it doesn't come with a fanfare. No trumpets, no applause, no parade down the street. No, it sneaks in quietly, like a shadow sliding across the floor while everyone else is busy looking the other way, and somehow, it finds you. Laughs under his breath, not because you're ready, not because you've earned it, but because the moment has been waiting for you all along. Laughs softly, almost like he's sharing a secret. The world isn't ready for destiny, whispers. Such a strange idea, isn't it? People expect destiny to roar, to come crashing in with fireworks, blinding lights, a dramatic soundtrack that signals, this is your moment. But no, destiny isn't loud. It doesn't announce itself. It creeps in quietly, deliberately, in the spaces you think are empty, in the pauses between your thoughts, in the silence of a room you thought was ordinary. It waits, patient, persistent, like a shadow following your every move, unnoticed but always present. You ever notice how easy it is to ignore a whisper? People are so busy shouting, so busy distracting themselves with noise, chaos, scrolling endlessly through meaningless distractions that they forget to listen. But the whisper of destiny, it doesn't go away. It keeps nudging, testing, poking at the edges of your awareness. It doesn't scream because it doesn't need to. The subtlety is part of the test. Only those who pay attention, only those who slow down enough to notice, only those who listen closely catch it. And catching it, that's the start of everything. Laughs low, almost under his breath. Most people run from the whisper without realizing it. They call it coincidence, superstition, imagination. They ignore signs, miss opportunities, dismiss the strange gut feelings that prick at their consciousness like tiny alarms. But destiny, oh, destiny is patient. It doesn't mind if you ignore it. It doesn't mind if you procrastinate, if you doubt, if you fill your head with distractions. It waits. And here's the beautiful part. It always finds a way to come back. The whisper grows louder, not by sound, but by intensity, by frequency, by the feeling that something is shifting, that everything familiar feels slightly off kilter, like the floor beneath your feet is vibrating with anticipation. And it's relentless. It doesn't take no for an answer, even when you try to ignore it. It doesn't negotiate. It doesn't plead. It simply persists, and eventually, you start noticing. Maybe in a moment of clarity during the quiet of your morning, maybe in the feeling of goosebumps during an ordinary conversation, maybe in the sudden awareness that life has been nudging you towards something for longer than you remember. Laughs quietly, shaking his head, and then the test begins. Because hearing a whisper is only the beginning. The real challenge is paying attention. The real challenge is choosing to follow it when it's inconvenient, when it's uncomfortable, when it disrupts everything you thought you knew about your life. Destiny whispers because it wants the willing. It wants someone who will lean in, who will notice the subtle patterns, who will recognize the rhythm of the unseen and have the courage to step into it. Funny, isn't it, how people are terrified of being chosen? They imagine responsibility, expectations, pressure, failure. They picture the weight of something bigger than themselves, and they flinch. But the whisper doesn't ask for your comfort. It asks for your attention. 15 minutes, half an hour, maybe a single heartbeat of focus. And in that short span, everything can shift. The whisper is delicate but powerful, invisible but undeniable. It's testing you, not punishing you. It's inviting you, not commanding you. Laughs softly, eyes gleaming with mischief, and here's the secret most people never notice. The whisper isn't coming from the outside. Not entirely. It's a reflection of what's already inside you. The spark you've been ignoring, the instinct you've been dismissing, the calling you've been too afraid to acknowledge. Destiny doesn't create itself in the world. It stirs the truth that's always existed in you, waiting for your awareness, waiting for your willingness to notice. And when you finally do, everything changes, not instantly, not in a bang, but subtly, irrevocably, like a door slowly swinging open in a dark hallway you didn't know existed. The whisper, persistent, quiet, insistent, keeps nudging. It tests patience, it tests focus, it tests courage. Those who listen, those who pay attention, begin to see the hidden connections, the patterns in the chaos, the moments that were always signs. And that's the power of listening to destiny. It doesn't just reveal what is coming, it reveals who you are, who you can become, who you were meant to be all along. Laughs softly, curling his words like smoke. Most people will never hear it, or if they do, they'll run. But those who listen, truly listen, will find themselves standing at the edge of something extraordinary, waiting for the next whisper to guide them further down a path that's always been theirs, even if they never realized it. Laughs low, tilting his head as if amused by a thought no one else has caught. Hidden paths. Funny how people walk through life thinking the road ahead is obvious, straight, predictable. They follow signs, schedules, instructions, maps drawn by others, and never stop to notice the subtle currents beneath the surface. Hidden paths, they're always there, weaving between the chaos, the noise, the distractions that keep most people blind. Only the chosen notice them. Only the ones paying attention see the footprints of opportunity, the faint shimmer of something waiting, the little cracks in reality that reveal a path no one else can walk. People imagine the chosen path as clear, lit, unbroken. Laughs softly, how naive. Hidden paths don't announce themselves with billboards. They hide in plain sight, disguised as ordinary streets, mundane routines, small choices that feel insignificant. The irony is delicious. The ones who can't see them pass right by, convinced nothing unusual is happening. Meanwhile, those meant to notice stumble upon a clue, a strange coincidence, a flicker of something extraordinary in the ordinary, and suddenly the world shifts just enough to reveal the trail. The beauty of a hidden path is its subtlety. It doesn't force you. It doesn't shout. It waits. Chuckles quietly. It lets life continue its ordinary performance while quietly nudging, guiding, coaxing the one who is ready to follow. You can ignore it, dismiss it, pretend it's coincidence, but it doesn't disappear. It simply waits for your awareness to catch up, your perception to sharpen, your courage to recognize what's been hiding in front of you all along. Laughs under his breath, almost gleeful, and those who are meant to follow, they feel it even before they know what it is. A subtle pull in their chest, a strange clarity in their mind, a moment of déjà vu that shakes them awake. They can't explain it, they can't label it, and that's exactly the point. The path doesn't reveal itself fully at first. It teases, it tests. It wants the seeker to prove they're paying attention, to show that they can notice the invisible, to prove that they have the patience to follow something that doesn't scream for attention. Following a hidden path requires trust, trust in yourself, trust in timing, trust in the invisible hand guiding you when everything in your life says to doubt, to retreat, to stay comfortable. Laughs softly, voice curling like smoke in the path. It's not always easy. It twists, it turns, it disappears when you think you understand it, only to reappear in another form, disguised differently, challenging you to remain vigilant, to stay awake, to notice the rhythm of the world shifting around you. Most people can't handle it. They stumble, fall, give up. They need certainty, straight lines, guarantees. Hidden paths aren't like that. They demand curiosity, patience, awareness, a willingness to risk the ordinary for a chance at something extraordinary. And the chosen, they sense this. They feel it in the way their intuition sharpens, in the way coincidences begin to align. in the way subtle signs multiply around them like breadcrumbs. In a dark forest, laughs quietly, almost sinisterly. And here's the delicious part. The hidden path always tests the seeker. It isn't just a road, it's a mirror. Every step forward, every hesitation, every choice reflects back their courage, their focus, their willingness to embrace the unknown. The path doesn't just guide, they guide themselves through it. It's a puzzle, a game, a subtle pressure test designed to separate the observers from the participants, the pretenders from the chosen. People who ignore hidden paths never realize what they missed. They continue walking straight, believing the world is simple, linear, predictable. But those who follow them, oh, they find wonders they never imagined. Opportunities, clarity, alignment, a strange energy that validates every step, every risk, every moment of focus they devoted to noticing what others overlooked. The path rewards observation, patience, persistence, laughs low, almost whispering in the best part. The path never repeats itself. It evolves as you evolve. Every discovery leads to another, every choice opens a new corridor of possibility. Hidden paths are alive, responsive, intelligent, and they're designed for the ones who are awake enough to see them, patient enough to follow them, and daring enough to trust what they cannot yet fully understand. Following a hidden path is terrifying, thrilling, chaotic, subtle, deliberate, and transformative all at once. It's a game the universe plays, and only those who listen, watch, and trust the pull can ever hope to win. The rest, they continue walking the straight line, missing the magic that waited just for them. Laugh softly, voice curling like smoke focus. Oh, people underestimate it, don't they? They think they can dabble, half watch, half listen, half believe, and somehow the universe will still hand them everything they desire. But focus, true focus, is a predator. It hunts. It sees the details that the distracted cannot. It cuts through the chaos, the noise, the endless distractions that most people drape over their lives like blankets, pretending comfort is the same as awareness. The chosen know this. They understand that a single moment of true focus can shift the entire trajectory of a life. Most people think attention is simple. They think concentrating on one thing is easy. Laughs quietly, shaking his head, but they're wrong. Focus is a war. It's a battle against every little impulse, every temptation, every internal and external interruption screaming for your energy. It's saying no to the seductive call of distraction and yes to the invisible hand that guides, that nudges, that pulls you toward what you're meant to see. And only those who fight for it, who fight through the noise, feel its power, its precision, its unrelenting clarity. You ever notice how powerful moments almost always arrive quietly? A whisper in a crowded room, a flicker of insight in the middle of chaos, a sudden alignment that seems impossible until you notice it. Focus is what allows you to catch that whisper, to notice that flicker, to step into that alignment before it disappears again. And it disappears, oh yes, it disappears for the inattentive, the impatient, the distracted. It's a delicate little miracle reserved for the willing. Bra laughs under his breath, and the irony is delicious. People believe they are busy when they are not focused. They call themselves productive, but they are scattered. They chase noise, chase comfort, chase fleeting approval, all the while missing the threads connecting the moments, the signals embedded in the ordinary, the rhythm of the unseen that only attention can reveal. Focus doesn't demand effort in the way they imagine. It demands sacrifice, sacrifice of distraction, of laziness, of convenience, sacrifice of believing the ordinary is enough. True focus doesn't just see, it perceives. It senses patterns in randomness, whispers in chaos, opportunities in plain sight. It notices the faint glimmer of what others overlook, the subtle alignments that hint at destiny, the small nudges that, if followed, unfold into something far larger than a life guided by chance. And the chosen, they don't just notice these things, they follow them relentlessly, quietly, with a patience most people never understand. Laughs softly, almost a whisper focuses a sword and a mirror at once. It cuts through illusion, revealing what is real. It reflects the mind that wields it, showing weaknesses, strengths, possibilities, dangers, and it tests you. The moment you waver, the moment you doubt, the moment you succumb to distraction, the clarity disappears, the whispers fade, the flickers vanish, and you're left in the same chaos you always were, blind to the guidance that was only ever a thought away. Most people don't understand how fragile focus is. They think it's a constant, a skill, something they can flip on whenever convenient. But it's not. It's alive. It demands respect. It demands awareness. It demands intention. And the more you feed it, the sharper it becomes, cutting through doubt, piercing confusion, revealing the paths hidden in the cracks of ordinary life. Laughs quietly, voice curling with amusement, and the chosen. They know this. They know that 15 minutes of absolute, undivided attention can unlock doors that years of casual effort cannot. They know that focus is the bridge between the ordinary and the extraordinary, the unseen and the revealed, the distracted and the awakened. They know that even a fleeting lapse can blur the signals, dilute the whispers, and hide the next step in a trail meant only for them. Our focus is not passive. It is a deliberate act of will, a commitment to see what others cannot, to hear what others ignore, to step into the invisible currents that shape the world. And those who wield it properly, they begin to notice how the universe opens just enough to allow a glimpse, a path, a signal, a chance. And that glimpse, that path, that signal, that chance is enough to start the unraveling of everything that came before, to redirect the life that follows, to reveal the extraordinary hiding in the ordinary. Laughs softly, almost sinisterly. Most people never find this. They flounder, distracted, overwhelmed, lost in noise and comfort. But the chosen, the ones who listen, who fight, who endure, who focus, they begin to see. And seeing is the first step, the smallest step, the most critical step toward everything that is waiting, quietly, patiently, deliberately, just for them. Laughs low, almost as if amused by a thought no one else can hear. Opportunity. People think it knocks once and then disappears forever. They imagine grand signs, flashing lights, obvious moments that scream, "This is your chance." But no, opportunity is subtle, sneaky, sly. It hides in plain sight, disguised as coincidence, disguised as routine, disguised as something mundane that most people would pass without a second glance. Only the ones paying attention, only the ones willing to notice the invisible threads connecting moments, see it. Only the chosen recognize it when it slides past like a shadow, almost teasing, almost daring them to reach for it. Most people are blind to it. They're too busy chasing what they think they want, chasing noise, chasing temporary pleasure, chasing approval. They're distracted, and distraction is the enemy of opportunity. Opportunity never shouts. It doesn't plead. It doesn't bribe or beg. It waits quietly for someone capable of seeing it, for someone capable of understanding that what appears ordinary could be the doorway to something extraordinary. Laughs softly, shaking his head, and when they ignore it, the universe doesn't yell, it simply moves on. It leaves the opportunity for someone else clever enough to notice, patient enough to act, and daring enough to step forward. Laughs under his breath, almost whispering. You see, the beauty of opportunity is its test. It doesn't just hand itself to anyone. It tests observation, patience, courage, focus, awareness. It drops hints. It sends signs. It nudges the chosen one in ways that can feel almost imperceptible at first. A strange coincidence, a fleeting thought, a sudden gut feeling that something is aligning, tiny breadcrumbs leading the way. Most people ignore these breadcrumbs, brushing them off as trivial, mundane, irrelevant. But the chosen, they recognize them, follow them, trust them. Opportunity doesn't tolerate indecision, it doesn't wait forever, and yet it is patient enough to align with those who are truly ready. Timing, subtlety, perception, these are its weapons. It's never urgent, never aggressive. It moves at the pace of those who can notice, slipping between chaos and distraction like a phantom. Laughs softly, voice curling. The chosen must learn to recognize the rhythm of its movement, to sense the pattern of its arrival, to trust the invisible signal, even when logic says otherwise, even when fear whispers to retreat, even when comfort screams to remain still. Most people mistake luck for opportunity. They confuse coincidence for timing. They believe opportunity comes with guarantees, with promises, with clarity, but real opportunity, true opportunity, demands risk. It demands faith. It demands action without certainty, courage without applause, and awareness without validation. And the chosen one, they feel this. They feel the pull, the subtle insistence that something extraordinary is nudging them toward the path they were meant to walk. Laughs quietly, almost sinisterly. Opportunity is a test of attention as much as a reward for awareness. The moment you notice it, the moment you acknowledge its presence, the moment you decide to act, that is where everything begins to shift. Every choice afterward carries weight. Every step forward becomes part of a sequence that leads somewhere significant. The ordinary cracks under the pressure of attention, and suddenly the hidden pattern reveals itself. What seemed coincidental now feels deliberate. What seemed trivial now feels crucial. And here's the delicious part. Opportunity often disguises itself as danger, discomfort, challenge. Most people recoil, retreat, turn away. But the chosen see it differently. They understand that discomfort is the test, that risk is the doorway, that chaos is the canvas upon which opportunity paints its true picture. 15 minutes, an hour, a fleeting moment, these are often enough for someone alert to glimpse the pattern, to recognize the signal, to act in ways that change the story completely. Laugh softly, voice curling. Opportunity rewards the vigilant, the patient, the courageous. It punishes the distracted, the fearful, the indifferent. It slips past those who fail to notice, only to return to those who do, reinforcing the pattern that attention and awareness are the currency required to claim what the universe has placed in waiting. And every subtle action, every small choice, every moment of focus builds momentum, leading the chosen ever closer to what has been quietly prepared, waiting just beyond the veil of ordinary perception. Following opportunity requires trust. Trust in the unseen, trust in timing, trust in the signals you feel rather than see. Trust that what appears ordinary could be the doorway to the extraordinary. The chosen recognize this. They lean in, they pay attention, they act decisively yet patiently, embracing the subtle chaos that accompanies every step toward what is waiting for them in the shadows. Just beyond the ordinary life, everyone else is content to wander through. Laughs low, almost whispering in the beauty of it. The universe always has more. Opportunity never truly ends. It evolves, shifts, hides again, waiting for the next willing observer, the next patient listener, the next courageous step toward what is unseen, subtle, deliberate, and entirely transformative. Laughs softly, tilting his head as if savoring a private joke. Courage, such a deliciously misunderstood thing. People imagine it as roaring, as grand gestures, as bold acts of heroism that everyone notices. But real courage, Real courage is quieter, more insidious, and infinitely more satisfying. It sneaks up in the shadows, hiding in the small choices, in the moments when no one is watching, when the easy path is tempting, when every instinct screams to retreat. That's where courage lives, not in applause, not in recognition, not in the safe certainty of the ordinary, but in the willingness to lean into uncertainty, to face what others fear, to step forward when the world whispers, turn back. Most people mistake confidence for courage. They confuse bravado, arrogance, noise, performance with the real thing. Laughs under his breath, but courage doesn't need an audience. It doesn't need a spotlight. It doesn't need validation. It is the quiet force that moves you to act, to notice, to confront, to endure, even when failure is probable, when pain is certain, when ridicule is inevitable. And the chosen, they feel it deep in their bones, a subtle hum of power, a pulse of determination that refuses to be ignored. You see, the world is built to challenge the courageous. Every day, every decision, every encounter is a test of whether you will act despite fear. The path of the chosen is not lined with comfort. It is lined with resistance, obstacles, distractions, voices telling you that safety is better, that retreat is smarter, that nothing good awaits beyond the ordinary. But courage doesn't listen. Courage leans in. It tilts its head, notices the risk, acknowledges it, and then takes the step anyway. Laughs softly, shaking his head, and oh, the thrill of that step, the delicious tension of standing at the edge, knowing what might happen, but choosing to move forward anyway. That's where life begins to bend in your favor. Most people flee from what they don't understand. They seek control, predictability, comfort. But the chosen, they understand that the unknown is a playground, a proving ground, a secret test crafted by the universe to separate the passive from the active, the ordinary from the extraordinary. Every small act of courage builds momentum, strengthens the mind, sharpens awareness, and awakens the instinct to recognize what others overlook. Laughs quietly. The world tests you, yes, but courage transforms that test into a stepping stone. Courage is not reckless. It is precise. It is calculated. It sees the danger, the fear, the potential for failure, and moves forward anyway. And in doing so, it exposes the hidden threads of opportunity, the faint signals that are invisible to the fearful, the distracted, the faint-hearted. The chosen learn to act decisively in those moments, to trust the subtle cues, to navigate the chaos that others run from. They begin to notice how courage is both shield and weapon, a lens and a compass, a key that unlocks doors no one else can see. Laughs softly, voice curling like smoke, and the most intoxicating part, courage is contagious. Once one step is taken, once fear is faced, once uncertainty is embraced, the momentum grows. Awareness sharpens. Opportunities that were invisible suddenly appear. Connections, insights, signals, all align in a subtle symphony that rewards the bold and punishes the timid. Every act of bravery, no matter how small, compounds, setting the stage for the next step, the next challenge, the next revelation. People misunderstand courage because they want it to be loud. They want dramatic gestures, applause, recognition, proof. But real courage is invisible to the untrained eye. It manifests in patience, in focus, in listening, in choosing the hard path instead of the easy one. It is endurance, persistence, the quiet refusal to yield to fear, distraction, or temptation. And the chosen, they sense its presence, feel its pull, respond to it instinctively, almost without thinking, trusting a force they can't fully explain but can't deny. Laughs quietly, almost sinisterly, And the beauty of courage is that it never truly ends. Every act strengthens the next. Every decision to face fear builds a foundation for the unseen challenges ahead. It teaches the mind to notice, the heart to trust, the soul to align with the rhythm of the unseen forces that guide the chosen, that whisper in shadows, that nudge subtly, deliberately, and insistently toward what is waiting for those brave enough to move forward, step by step, without hesitation, without doubt, without regret. Laughs softly, voice curling like smoke, eyes glinting with mischief awareness. Such a treacherous little thing, isn't it? Most people think they are aware, that they notice, that they see, but real awareness is a predator. It lurks in the corners of the mind, whispering truths no one else wants to hear. It makes you uncomfortable. It shakes the foundations you've built around your ignorance. It exposes the cracks in the mask you've so carefully constructed. Most people run from it, dismiss it, ignore it. They convince themselves that blissful unawareness is safer, easier, simpler. But the chosen lean in. They pay attention, even when it hurts, even when it confuses, even when it threatens everything they think they know. Laughs under his breath, tilting his head. People fear awareness because it demands honesty. It doesn't allow lies, excuses, or distractions. It reflects your choices back to you, naked, unflinching, relentless. It shows you the patterns in your life, the signals you ignored, the whispers you dismissed. It highlights what you could have done differently, what you should have seen, what you refused to face. And most people, they panic, they stumble. They retreat into noise, into busyness, into comfort, anything that dulls the sting of seeing clearly. But the chosen, they let it wash over them. They let the uncomfortable clarity sink in, twist in their mind, shake their assumptions, sharpen their instincts. Awareness doesn't reward the distracted. It doesn't bless the careless. It demands presence. Presence of mind, presence of heart, presence of soul. Every detail, every nuance, every subtle signal is a piece of a puzzle that only those willing to notice can solve. Laughs softly, almost sinisterly. The chosen understand this instinctively. They watch, they listen, they feel. A flicker of movement, a change in tone, a hesitation in a step, all of it matters. Nothing is too small, nothing insignificant, nothing unconnected. Awareness turns ordinary moments into portals, whispers into guidance, chaos into patterns, if you know how to see. Most people skim through life, skimming the surface, thinking their eyes capture the world. But the surface is a lie. It hides depth, it hides opportunity, it hides danger. Real awareness penetrates. It senses what is hidden, what is coming, what is waiting. It reads between words, behind gestures, inside intentions. And the chosen, they practice it instinctively. They notice what others overlook, remember what others forget, connect what others cannot. They see the invisible strings pulling at reality, and they follow them step by careful step, until the unseen becomes tangible. Laughs quietly, shaking his head. Awareness is not passive. It is active, deliberate, exacting. It demands energy, focus, courage. It punishes laziness, distractibility, arrogance. Every moment ignored is a lost signal, a missed opportunity, a step away from what could have been revealed. And yet the universe always provides a new chance for those who notice. The chosen, they seize it. They embrace the discomfort of clarity, the tension of knowing, the responsibility that comes with insight. They do not flinch, they do not dismiss, they do not pretend ignorance is bliss. They lean in, and here's the beautiful, twisted part. Awareness teaches you about others as much as it teaches you about yourself. Every action, every intention, every subtle energy reveals patterns, weaknesses, strengths, possibilities. The world begins to speak in a language that only the alert understand. The distracted hear noise, the fearful hear static, the chosen, they hear the signal, and it guides them, molds them, aligns them, sometimes gently, sometimes harshly, sometimes almost cruelly, always precisely. Laugh softly, almost delighted awareness is cumulative. Every observation, every attention paid, every moment of noticing adds to a reservoir of insight that strengthens the mind, sharpens the perception, hones the instincts.